Today, we're tackling a big one, data science. You hear this term everywhere, and for good reason. It's being called one of the most revolutionary technologies of our time. But what is it really? Well, at its core, it's the art of taking these huge, messy piles of raw information and turning them into something useful, something clear. Let's dive in.
So to really get why data science is such a big deal, you have to start with this number. It's kind of mind-blowing. Every single day, all of us, together, we create 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. I mean, what even is that? It's a 2.5 with 18 zeros after it. It's just an insane amount of information. And the crazy part is, that number is getting bigger every single second.
So, where in the world is all this data coming from? This isn't just about spreadsheets and databases anymore, not by a long shot. We are living right in the middle of a data deluge, an absolute explosion of information that comes from places you might not even think about.
And this data, it's coming from everywhere, woven right into our daily lives. It's all thanks to this idea called the Internet of Things, or IoT. You've probably heard that term. It's just a fancy way of saying that all these devices in our world, your TV, your car, even your coffee maker, they're all connected to the internet now. And they're constantly talking, constantly creating this tidal wave of information about how we go about our day.
And that brings us to the central problem, right? With this much information gushing from billions of devices, our traditional tools just can't keep up. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. So how do we possibly find the valuable signals that are hidden in all that noise?
Well, that is exactly where data science comes into the picture. It's the modern field built from the ground up to handle this data deluge. It gives us the tools and the methods we need to navigate this brand new world of information.
At its heart, data science is all about discovery. It's about digging into data and pulling out those hidden insights, those secret patterns that can help companies and organizations make smarter, better informed decisions. It's less about the data itself and way more about what you can do with it. Okay, check this out. For a perfect example of how powerful finding these patterns can be, you just have to look at Walmart. They were digging through massive amounts of their sales data, and they found something really weird, but also super useful. They noticed that right before a hurricane hits, sales of strawberry Pop-Tarts would shoot up by 7 times. Who would have guessed that? But because they knew they could stock the shelves and meet this demand they never would have seen coming otherwise.
Or here's one you've definitely experienced yourself. Netflix doesn't just randomly guess what you want to watch next. Oh no. It is meticulously analyzing the viewing habits of millions of users, what you watch, when you hit pause, what you skip, to build that incredibly powerful recommendation engine that keeps us all hooked.
So how does this actually happen? I mean, finding a connection between Pop-Tarts and hurricanes isn't something a person is going to spot just by staring at a spreadsheet. The real engine driving these incredible insights in data science today is machine learning.
Machine learning is, well, pretty much exactly what it sounds like. Instead of programming a computer with specific instructions for every possible scenario, you basically give it a bunch of data and let it teach itself the rules. It's a whole class of algorithms that can spot patterns and then change their own behavior as they get more and more information.
And the whole process is kind of like a journey. It all starts with a data scientist playing detective, exploring the data, looking for clues, seeing what initial trends pop out. From there, they build and train a predictive model, tweaking it and fine-tuning it to make it as accurate as possible. Then, once it's ready for the real world, it gets deployed into a system where it can start making live predictions. Now, machine learning itself kind of comes in 2 main flavors. First, you've got supervised learning. Think of this like teaching with flashcards. You give the machine a ton of data that's already labeled with the right answer. A huge pile of emails where each one is already marked spam or not spam. Then there's unsupervised learning. This is more like giving the machine a giant, messy box of parts and saying, hey, find some cool patterns in here. You give it unlabeled data, and it has to find the hidden structures all on its own, like figuring out how to group your customers into different segments you never even knew were there.
Okay, so this all might be sounding a little abstract, but the reality is machine learning and data science are already humming away in the background of your life, powering the technology you use every single day. For example, every single time you open your email inbox, there's a machine learning model working for you. Gmail is analyzing billions of emails in real time, using what it's learned from all the past examples to automatically decide if an incoming message is junk or not, keeping your main inbox nice and clean.
Or how about social media? When you upload a photo to Facebook and it instantly suggests who you should tag? That's not magic. That's a really sophisticated machine learning model that's learned to recognize the faces of people in your network, making the whole experience feel totally seamless.
And the impact on business is just staggering. Take Amazon, for example. Over a third of its total sales, a whopping 35%, comes directly from its recommendation engine. By analyzing what you look at and what you buy, it suggests other things you might like. That one data science application drives a massive chunk of their success.
And whenever you use Google Maps to dodge a traffic jam, you're part of this giant data science ecosystem. The app collects anonymous location data from millions of phones out on the road to predict, in real time, what the traffic looks like and find you a quicker way to get where you're going.
So at the end of the day, data science isn't just another tech buzzword. It's a fundamental change in how we understand our world and how we make decisions. It really is the next frontier of what's possible.
So let's just pull it all together. Why does this matter so much? Because data science gives us the tools to find order in our chaotic digital world. It lets businesses switch from just guessing to making smart, data-driven moves. It's the engine behind the tech we can't live without, and it uncovers these amazing truths about our world that were totally invisible before.
And I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. At their best, a data scientist really is a detective. They're not just crunching numbers, they're investigating leads, they're following their curiosity, and they're piecing together all the clues from the data to solve really complex puzzles and tell the story that's hidden inside. And that brings us to the final big idea here. As our ability to collect and analyze all this data gets more and more powerful, the most important skill isn't going to be about finding the answers. It's going to be about learning how to ask the right questions. Because in a world where we can analyze literally everything, the real challenge, the true frontier, is figuring out what should we even be asking in the first place.